I'm joyfully of service to all. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Emery John Frazier currently, and we are on episode 13, where we are syncing the heart with the mind. Last episode we talked about the power of the heart. So now let's utilize that power. Let's change our reality, our experience. I want to start with a story. I watched a TV show that's on Gaia.com. Gaia is like a spiritual Netflix. There's a lot of great shows on there. The show I watched is made by a guy named braden. He's been doing spiritual scientific research for many years now. I've seen a video on YouTube in like the 90s. So he's been doing it for a long time. I'm going to talk to you about two mind-blowing stories that he talks about. He talks about both these stories in his show on Gaia.com. And it's free for the first month, so if you want to check it out, feel free to go ahead and do that. First story I want to talk to you about is from a heart transplant. So, this girl, she's I think 8 or 9, passes away, gives her heart to another girl about her age. The girl that receives the heart has a nightmare, ongoing, happens over and over again, many times a week. She goes to the doctor and talks to him about it. He says, I can't really help you with that. You should speak to like a therapist, psychiatrist. So she goes and talks to one of those guys. They say this sounds more like a memory than a nightmare. So somehow from there she goes and talks to a police officer, and they get her with a sketch artist. And the sketch artist draws out the face of the person she's describing, also writes down the words. He says some very specific words to her before he kills her. And they literally find the same face that the sketch artist drew in their database. So they go and get the guy and talk to him. And crazy enough, he confirms and confesses to the murder. Not only does he do that, he also says the exact words that he tells the police officer, the exact words that the girl said that she was having in this memory, this nightmare. And he actually goes to jail for this murder. That is the power of our hearts. And there's been lots of, nothing to this extreme, but lots of things when people get heart transplants. Like, let's say somebody loved KFC and then all of a sudden the person that gets the heart starts liking that food. Your heart literally holds information, holds memory. And when somebody else gets that, it gets all that information. This story blew my mind. I found out about the story years ago, and I didn't really know what to do with the information just yet. So, I forget exactly how he comes up with this tape, with this video. It's a hospital over, I think, in China, and it's a spiritual hospital. There's a few people in the video, you'll see them. I'm going to put the video, I'm going to link it to this video. And there's a woman laying in a hospital bed, and there's two images. One of the tumor, and it's basically the original image of the tumor, and then you're going to see a to the moment image of the tumor. And literally the doctors, spiritual doctors, are chanting, I forgot what the phrase is, but something about let it be so, or it already is, that she's well, she's healthy. And you will literally, moment by moment, see this tumor that's about this size literally just go smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, and then it will just disappear. And this video is minutes. That's the power we have with this electric and magnetic field that comes from our heart and our brain. You can literally heal yourself. The stories are in the Bible, and they seem kind of crazy, like, how can people do that? This is the information right here. So, how do we go from just thinking in our brain all the time to consciously moving our intent and our consciousness down into our heart? And not just thinking with the heart, but aligning the heart and the brain, because one is not good, one is not bad. But it's definitely more efficient when they're on one accord. So Greg Braden does this in the video. I'm going to show it to you. He got a lot of this information from HEARTMATH. I actually heard about them in some other spiritual videos I watched. They do a lot of research on the heart, scientific research. And they found that there's actually another set of waves your brain has, and they call it gamma. The way you get into the gamma state, first let me tell you what it is. So when you're in the gamma state, it's always positive. You're not in a fight or flight situation. Usually what us people who are in our brains for 95% of the time are in a flight or fight instinct. And what that does to your body is literally, you can't do long-term processes. You have to do live process. And that doesn't allow your body to heal. So anytime you are out of balance, and this is totally out of balance when you're only thinking with your brain, your body and your mind, spiritually, physically, is out of balance. And thus you can't go and maintain your system. Just think if you're growing a garden and you didn't have time, because you're already always running or fighting, your garden would die. So that's exactly what happens to our bodies. They decay. Now, once we align and sync up these things, people live for a much longer period of time, and they are healthier throughout their lives. So this gamma state literally is the highest frequency we know about right now that your brain has. So, how to get there? Let's just go straight there. So first we have to remove ourselves from that flight or fight instinct. We have to let our body know that we are safe, that we can go ahead and do these long-term fixing and manifesting. So we have to go ahead and move our thought process from our brain to our heart. You've probably seen people pray like this, and literally they're doing the same thing. They're moving from the brain to the heart. And the easiest way to do that is to feel your physical heart. So you can feel it like this. I can feel it through my my wrist if I do it this way, but I prefer to have my hand on my heart. I can feel it. So we're moving our consciousness from our brain down to our heart. First step. Second step is to let our body, mind know that we are safe and we have time and security to do this process. The way to do that is to have longer breaths. You can't take long breaths when you're running or you're fighting. So you can do a 4 or a 5 count in and out. Once we feel secure with that, the next step, the way to get your heart and your brain in the gamma state, is literally through appreciation, gratitude, compassion, all positive thoughts. When you do this process, you will start to feel vibrations, tickles. It actually feels good. You will know you're there by the sensations your body feels, sensory sensations. Once you are there, if you can maintain or grow that feeling for 3 minutes, it will have up to a 6-hour effect on your experience. Something you do for 3 minutes can give you a major positive effect for 6 hours. Now, I did some math in my head and I said, well, what if I do this right when I wake up? It gives me 6 hours. What if I do this in the middle of my day? It gives me another 6 hours. And then what if I do this right before I go to sleep? That covers most of my day. And I actually was doing this without even knowing it. Somehow I just followed my heart and it led me to there. I wasn't doing this exact technique, but I was meditating when I woke up, midday, and when I went to sleep. And what this does is, like I talked about in the last video, it sends out these waves of energy. And it aligns, gets everything ready for us. And we're always doing it. We can do it negative or positive, for us or against us. One is not better than the other. It just simply is. And it's all about preference. What do you prefer to experience? I prefer to experience synchronicity. And what this does is allows positive synchronistic things to happen. So, let's say we send out the positive vibes in the morning, and all of a sudden we run into this person, and this person has some information for us, and that information leads us to something else, and all of a sudden it allows us for a dream to come true. Something that we always wanted to do came about by us prepping that morning. And us following our heart each step allowed us to get to this end point of our dream coming true. Now imagine if we did negative prepping that morning. We would have had the urge to go and talk to that person, but then we would have had our second thought, which is the mind judging that idea. What beautiful growth we just had. So instead of us fighting ourselves, conflicting, not knowing what to do, who was right, the heart or the brain, we are now synced up and we know every thought we have is taking us directly on the path we want to go. And we released the path of least resistance, and now we're on the path of optimum flow. Because we optimize ourselves, and now we get the benefit of that in our experience. We are now complete, just like we were before. Thank you for watching my videos. I appreciate you, and I love you, and I always choose love.